Alright, moving along. Filepro has a very unique feature in it that no other database has. Going into define files, let's add to this file something called associated fields. We'll add some associated fields. Now, these are just like regular fields, except that we put an associating code. In this case, I'm going to put an N and a parentheses, and then I'm going to call it notes. And I said I want 60 characters allowed in this notes field. What's associated about it is that I can have more than one field. If it's an N for N, that tells it it's another associated N field. I can call it notes. I could call this notes 2 or whatever. Let's call it notes for now. 60, and then I'm going to make another associated field called notes. Again, this one I could call notes 3, or it doesn't matter. I can change these names. The real qualifying factor of an associated field is what you put in the parentheses here. And there are several, you're allowed anything from A to Z, or A0 through A9, up to Z0 through Z9. They're all associated fields, and we're going to just talk about them basically here. They can be very elaborate and do a lot with them, but let me show you their basic usage here. This is the N group of associated fields. And it's got 60 characters in each one. Now it does, or will. Okay. I pressed escape. I'm done. I press X. Well, guess what? I want to rebuild the screen, or I'd have to go put these fields on the screen myself manually. So I'll say, yes, build me a new screen with all this stuff on it. That's great. Now let's go look at this screen. I'll go to Incorporate Date and Add to the VG file. Pick screen 0. Let's go look at record 1. Okay, you see that we have record 1, and that's all the data that used to be in record 1, but now it's showing us the field heading, N, notes, N, notes, N, notes, and there are the fields, 60 characters long for notes. Now, what can we put in these fields? Just about anything. And the fact that they're associated is important, and that's what we're talking about. That's why we've got them here. There's something about them that's unique. What is it? Okay, it is this. Let's say this customer, we're a stockbroker, let's say, and this customer we know always buys small caps from us, and he buys bonds from us, and he buys mutual funds. Okay, that's what that customer buys. Let's go to the next customer. Do we have another customer? Yeah, let's see what Ronald DeMarco buys. Ronald DeMarco, he doesn't buy anything but, I'm just going to down arrow to get to these fields. Ronald DeMarco, he just buys bonds. Okay? And let's ask, let's see. Let's go add another field, another file, another record real quick. Oh, this is Jim's coming. Might as well try and type it right. Probably even spelling Vancouver wrong. Okay, and this state we don't care. Oh, actually, it's probably British Columbia. Let's see if that's allowed. Hey, British Columbia is allowed in the States. That's pretty good. The state zip must be right. Let's make zip. I don't know what his zip is. We'll leave that alone. His phone, I don't care. But Jim, in the notes field, I'm going to say Jim buys, he buys some mutual funds from us. And sometimes we want to query and find all the customers that buy mutual funds from us. Okay, so we're getting an idea of what's going on here. I'm going to add one more person. Barbara Freeman. Her company is Big Company. And let's say she buys, just buys, let's do this. Nah, I'm trying to make this so this makes sense to you when you look at it. She buys bonds and she buys mutual funds. Okay, so there's a smattering of records with people who buy different things. If we look at the browse, you could see that there are some people in here, and we're not seeing those fields on this browse. But now let's see how the associated fields work. For instance, if I go into scan, and I want to scan and find, let's do this. I'm going to go to record 1. This person is active. Let's say that we'll go here to Barbara. Barbara is also in the Acme company. Okay. Now, if I want to scan for records and I want to pick a field to scan on, I would say pick the company field. That would be field 3. And I'll say I want field 3 where it equals company. Where it equals Acme, rather. A-C-M-E. Okay, and hit enter. If I were to do this search and look, I get 2 records. I get the first record, which is this guy, and if I hit enter, I get this record. Both contain, or the very first part of the field was Acme. It's all the same. So I searched in one field for that. Let's say now I scan and I want to go. Let's just get a quick look at these fields again. Here's field 1, and you see that it says small caps, bonds, and mutual funds. It's spelled improperly. So let's fix that. Mutual funds. Okay. The second record, just bonds, but it's in the first field. In this first record, bonds is in the second field. Second record here, it's in the first. Here, mutual funds is on the first field. Everything's all different here. It's all different. Let's update this record and put bonds over here. Now everything's in different fields. We don't have time to put the right things in the right fields. We're just adding, when the customer calls, he tells us what kind of thing he wants to buy. Now we want to find all the customers. For instance, if we scan for records, we want to find all the customers that will buy bonds from us. We may have a special on bonds. So instead of searching in all 3 of those fields, trying to find whether bonds is in field 12 or 13 or 14, it would be very hard to do that. So instead, I'm just going to put N parentheses here and say, if that's equal to bonds, I want to see this record. In other words, Filepro is going to search in all the associated fields for this, all the N associated fields for the word bonds. If I press escape, it found 1, and here bonds is in the second field. On this second one, bonds is in the first field. On this next one, bonds is in the last field. And there we go. Associated fields gives you the ability to put many, many fields, up to 32 in any grouping. You can have 32 N's, 32 A's, 32 A5s, 32 A9s. You can have lots of associated fields and use them in lots of different ways, and they're very, very useful. You can index on them in special ways, and they're going to allow you to do a lot of things that many databases won't let you do. That's associated fields.